What's up, guys? Welcome into the Packers Total Access post-game show. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. We're currently flying solo because Tim is at the game. Emilio's tied up this afternoon. Not literally tied up. He's busy doing other things this afternoon. And he'll be in here for the post-game show, so we'll be good to go with that. But let's do this. Let's get things kicked off right here and give a good shout-out to our good friends over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Wisconsin-based since '92, specializing in Packers tickets. They're Wisconsin's largest ticket source with offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Just click on the link in the video description. It'll send you to their website, theticketking.com, where you can register for free as a customer and go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. So obviously we've got a fun one on tap this afternoon, as the first place Detroit Lions come into town to a rainy Lambeau Field. That seems to be the storyline today. I think they're calling for anywhere from 80 to 100% chance during game time. Right now, it's just kind of a slow, steady trickle, but it sounds like it may pick up as the day goes on, at least the most recent forecast that I've seen. And like I said, we've got Tim out there. Oh, man, look at it. He changed the cover photo. You got to love it, dude. Devontae Wyatt recovering that fumble. But Tim out there on site at Lambeau Field, you see everybody's got their ponchos on. We could try to crank this up. We might get hit with a copyright. This band's so damn good. You know what I mean? You're going to be able to pick up exactly what song they're playing. But he called in just a second ago. He may chime back in here in a minute. It was just really, really loud. All you'll hear is people screaming and partying as obviously the band struck up over there. It's a really, really cool setting at Lambeau right now as we get ready to face the Detroit Lions. Again, he's been tweeting out all kinds of cool stuff. This tweet here, he says, this is what being a Packer fan is all about. We met some awesome people who came all the way down from Canada for their first game. Met a lot of Canadian Packer fans over the years. I have, man. It just seems like every time that I'm at a Packer game, there's someone who comes across the border to watch Packers play. So really cool to see Canada being represented there. You got to love this right here, man. Even with the poncho one, you got the fur coat, the cheese head. Everybody's good to go. Just really cool, man. There's nothing like Lambeau Field. As you can see, it was just rain-drenched out there earlier today. So still is right now currently. As a matter of fact, I think Wes Hodkiewicz actually tweeted out a video just a second ago, and you can kind of see what Lambeau's looking like. And, again, this is going to be one of those mutter games. I know Lambeau doesn't get quite as muddy as it used to with the synthetic blend that they have there as a playing surface, but you can see Wes Hodkiewicz tweeting out the video there at Lambeau Field, and I think he does a shot of there you go. You can kind of see the rain falling as everything's getting cranked up, everybody falling into the stadium. And this is going to be a great matchup. It really is. And listen, there's been a lot of trash talking going on today. I know I think I've got thought I had the picture here. I'll see if I can find it real quick. As Amon-Ra St. Brown got things cranked up really, really loud early as he walked into the stadium with a Green Bay Sucks shirt on. I'll see if I can run it down real quick. I've got so many screen grabs in here. I'll tell you, we're running out of room. But we may get to it here in a second. So Amon-Ra St. Brown running that mouth early. Guys, there's nobody that expects the Packers to compete with the Lions today. And I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'm very, very excited. I really am. I think that the Packers have an opportunity to come out here and win this game. The line has changed actually here recently. Matter of fact, why don't we just hit that right now? The early line was Green Bay +3, right? So they were obviously 3-point underdogs going into when I left for North Carolina a couple of days ago. They were 3-point underdogs. Well, the current line now, according to DraftKings, is 2.5-point underdogs. So it has moved another half point, as it seems as if Jordan Love will be playing today. At least that's the early indication. As I'm trying to think of who tweeted it out here just a second ago. Rob Domofsky tweeted out, Packers elevate cornerback Kamal Hadden from the practice squad for tomorrow's game against the Lions. Not a good sign for Jair Alexander. No quarterback moves, another indication that Jordan Love will play. And you guys know Jordan practiced all week for the most part. To me, he looks healthy. He looks good to go. That cornerback, Kamal Hadden, being elevated, that does worry me about Jair Alexander. So I'll try to comb through here in a minute and get the actives or inactive list, I should say, to give us a little more information. It's just kind of difficult to do it in real time with no dead air as you're flying solo here, doing the pregame show. So let's go to the chat. We had a couple marked in here earlier. Jake G126 said, raining Sunday in Lambeau. Let's greet the Lions' first outside game this season and remind them they play a cold weather sport. I love the energy. Absolutely love the energy there, Jake. Let me drop this down, and I've got a really cool statistic here, or just insight, I guess you can say. As Rob Domofsky tweeted out, welcome to a Soused Lambeau Field, where the Lions will play their first outdoor game of the season and one of only 3 outdoor games for them this season. Per at Elias, I think I'm saying that right, Elias Sports, the 24 Lions, the 2024, hopefully it's not 1924, the 2024 Lions and the 1998 Saints are the only 2 teams in NFL history to play their first 7 games of the season indoors. So that was a really, really unique statistic that we stumbled across. And I've actually got, I wanted to hit on something, as we're prepared for this weather, right? We being the Packers. Now, obviously, I don't play for the Packers, but being a fan, that's how we refer to them. This right here is what I wanted to point out is I think it was Rob earlier this week actually tweeted out at Packers practice all week. They were out there in the rain, in the elements, right? And obviously this was just an injury update, if you will, on the Packers injury situation. But man, as you can see, they practice in the downpour all week long. They've been preparing for this. It sounds like Josh Jacobs is going to be good to go, last I heard there. And again, we'll try to comb through Twitter and keep our eye on that and see if any information comes in or when the inactives hit. If you guys get them, throw them in the chat. I'll try to get to them quick. But like I was saying, it's a little difficult to comb through that information as we go along. I'm going to try to stay with the chat too and just kind of, it looks like we got the inactives already. Cool. So we'll go ahead and put this up. But I just want to point out the Packers practicing in those elements all week long. I think that's going to benefit the Packers, not the Detroit. They may have done the same thing all week. I don't know. I haven't seen that. But seeing that they play in a dome, they don't put as much emphasis on the elements, obviously. So the Detroit Lions inactives, this was tweeted out by the Detroit Lions X account, says Detroit versus Green Bay inactives presented by Henry Ford Health. And here are the inactives. You've got Sean Vaki, the running back, Malcolm Rodriguez, linebacker, Giovanni Manu, outside or offensive lineman. I'm sorry. That was actually a guy that was on the Packers radar. I remember that. Christian Mahogany, offensive lineman. You've got Kobe Sorsdahl, offensive lineman. Then you've got Josh Paschal, defensive lineman, and Mekhi Wingo, defensive lineman. So all of those players are inactive for the Detroit Lions. Now, when you get to the Green Bay Packers here, see if I can zoom in, help y'all see it a little bit better. Kyle Malzahn, at Kyle Malzahn on Twitter, says the Packers inactives for today's game against the Lions. Jair Alexander is inactive. So we got no Jair today against this high-powered Detroit Lions offense. Malik Heath will be inactive. Evan Williams, no surprise there, inactive. Brenton Cox Jr. inactive. Josh Myers inactive. So we're obviously I imagine we're going to play Elton Jenkins at center, kick Sean Ryan over to left guard, play Jordan Morgan at right guard. I guess that's probably the plan there. So very, very interesting there with the ball being wet. Listen, if there's anybody on the team that I trust, even more so than Josh Myers with snapping the ball, me personally, it's Elton Jenkins. The dude is just a pro's pro. I think that's the guy you want handling the ball every single snap for sure. And then Travis Glover, of course, inactive. And that does confirm, like it says here, Jordan Love is active for today's game. So being without Jair and Evan Williams, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I am. Based off of, and it's a small sample size, but based off what we've seen this season with this defense, I feel like not having Evan Williams out there is probably a bigger blow than Jair. I'm not saying Evan Williams is a better football player than Jair. I'm saying simply within this scheme, the safeties play a huge role. As you can see, Xavier McKinney having the impact he's had. You can see the defense completely changed. It really throttled down a touch when Evan Williams came out last week and Javon Bullard had to slide back there, putting if I remember correctly, Keyshawn Nixon back in the slot, and then bringing in both Eric Stokes and Carrington Valentine to kind of split duties on the outside. I think that that's a bigger impact, in my opinion, than even Jair. Again, that's no Jair slander. It's just it seems like Evan Williams had that kind of impact on the game for sure. Nick McSwain says, not going to hold my breath, but I hope the Packers get a cornerback before the trade deadline. Jai is good, but can't rely on him to play, and we need depth bad. It looks like we got Tim in here. I'm going to throw him on the screen. He's got it muted right now. Tim, if you can hear us, you talk anytime you want, bro. All right.
Just checking in, Clay. Can you guys hear me okay?
We got you, man. How you doing out there? What's the weather like?
Hey, it's a little rainy, a little cool, a little chipper. It's football weather, though. Getting ready to beat Detroit,
Love it, love it. So, what's the crowd looking like filing in? Have you seen a whole lot of Lions fans or not?
You know what? Honestly, there's Lions fans out here, but not in droves like I've seen in the past. There's definitely more Packer fans out here in Lot 1. I mean, I'm in Lot 1 right now. I had to step away from the polka band just to give you guys a chance to hear me, but plenty of Packer fans out here. Only a handful of Lions fans, so it's a good vibe right now.
And that's Lot 1, man. That's where Lions fans they stay away from Lot 1, don't they?
Yeah, no, they don't want none of this smoke. You know that.
Awesome, man. We appreciate you checking in, bro. You stay warm out there, and jump back in if you want to. All right.
Absolutely, go Pack, go. We're getting that dub today.
Love it. See you, Tim. So obviously that was Tim live from Green Bay from Lot 1. Getting rowdy out there, man. That's the way we like to see it. So back to Nick McSwain's message here. Not going to hold my breath, but hope the Packers get a cornerback before the trade deadline. Jai is good, but can't rely on him to play, and we need depth back. And like Jake said, I'll come back to this in just a second, but Jake G126 says, just don't see Goody doing it. I agree with Jake. I don't see it happening either. And, the thing about Jair, it's very hot and cold, right? Like when he's on, and when he's on and he's making plays, you've really got to take into consideration what's the play call. And even with us, hindsight being 2020, like when we're doing Chalk Talk, we know, okay, here was the play call. We still don't know what the rules and principles are within that specific play call. We also don't know what kind of adjustments may have been made on the sideline. What I mean by that is like, yeah, it could be a cover three spot drop, but it could also be a cover 3 spot drop where, let's say, Derek Ansley and defensive backs coach and Jeff Hafley maybe seen something on the tape like, hey, look, when they go Trey left or Trey right, and they got that Y in the 2 instead of the 3, I want you to really hammer down on the flat because they like to run a floods concept or whatever it may be, right? So that's why we always say, and we always put that precursor up there that, hey, look, we don't know exactly what the play call was. Got a good idea of what it was, the foundation of it, whether it's zone, whether it's man, whether it's zone match. Is it zero? Obviously, the blitzes are self-explanatory, but you never truly know what adjustments may have been made or maybe what adjustments were added into the game plan even before the game kicked off that you've seen, through that 4-game saturation of scouting the team. Hey, here's the tendencies we're seeing when they're in Trey. Here's the tendencies we see when they're in 2x2. Here's the tendencies we see when they got a split backfield or they put a Amon-Ra St. Brown in the backfield, whatever it may be. So that's why you always got to kind of take that with a grain of salt. And I say all that because with Jair, it's like when he's on, but one of his interceptions this year, he completely freelanced away from his responsibility, right? And when he did that, if our boy, his name's evading me right, Jalen Hurts, instead of trying to throw to the back of the end zone, if he recognizes Ja just took off from his assignment and he dumps it down underneath, probably going to be a touchdown, and we're all screaming, there's Jair again, blowing his coverage and not doing what he's supposed to do. He picks the pass off. We just kind of brush it off. Oh, man, great play. And it was. So you got to take the good with the bad there. I understand what you're saying, though, Nick. It seems like with Ja, I mean, I would love to see a spreadsheet, I should say, charting which players have missed the most time over the last couple of years. I mean, between suspension and injury, you got to think Ja's probably up there toward the top. So I don't agree with, Jair isn't a good corner. And not that you're saying it, Nick. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. I don't think he's a bad corner. I don't think he's injury prone. I don't think, there's nothing too extreme there like, oh, my God, we need to get rid of him. But I completely understand your sentiment here about, hey, might want to get someone else in here because it seems like every time we need him, dude's a little banged up or he's suspended or something. I don't mean to laugh, but I've been watching football a long time, and it's the first time I ever seen somebody make themselves captain. It's just a wild setting, but appreciate you, Nick. I'm going to comb back through here real quick and see if there's anything. We're going to go to the live chat and see if we got anything in here. Let's see. Here we go. Prince in the chat says, we will miss Jair against St. Brown. See, that's the other thing, Prince. There's this big misconception that Jair is just following the number one receiver, and that's not been the case. There's specific plays that are called by Jeff Hafley this year where he'll follow the one. But the thing about Amon-Ra St. Brown, he plays in the slot, right? Now, if you're saying, okay, we're going to put Jair on Amon-Ra St. Brown all day long, You guys know me. I'm not a fan of that. I think it makes your defense weaker. I really do. Unless you're going to play predominantly man coverage. You guys know how I feel about that. And we just haven't seen the Packers do that. You know, they're running cover 3 zone more than anything, if I remember correctly. See if we can go to the coverage chart here real quick. I think I've still got it. So the Packers are running cover 3 zone 31% of the time and cover 1 man 22% of the time. And then their next coverage is cover 2 zone, right, at 19%. And then cover 6 zone, which is a combination of cover 4 and cover 2 at 12%. And then cover 4 zone at 11%. So essentially what you've got is only 23% of the defensive snaps you're in man coverage. So when you got Jive following someone and you're predominantly running zone coverage and these fire zone blitzes that Jeff Hafley's really leaned on this year to create pressure, man, it's going to cause a lot of problems because all it takes is a little bit of motion to throw guys off their, you know, it's one thing to go man across the board. All right, if he moves, you move, right? Just like that. Just kidding. So if you're in man coverage, you can kind of match up easy. But when you're calling a lot of fire zone blitzes, which we pointed out, I think I want to say there's 10 interceptions this year. I could be wrong. It's either 9 or 10. I do know there's only been 2 interceptions in man coverage, and all of the rest have come in zone. So when you make a game plan for Ja following the number 1 receiver, in this case, their predominant slot receiver, then you can't really lean on that zone coverage the way you want to because the game plan will be geared around that guy needs to follow him everywhere he goes. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of how I see it. But again, your inactives, if you guys and gals are just jumping in, the inactives for today for the Packers, Jair Alexander will not play today. Malik Heath, Evan Williams will not play. Brenton Cox Jr., Josh Myers will not play. Travis Glover will not play. So all of those are inactive, but Jordan Love is active here for this rain game today, man. I'm so excited for this thing to get kicked off. It is going to be a blast. I'm going to hit refresh real quick on the we got a couple other things coming through. Matter of fact, let's pop this back up as the Packers had tweeted this out. Hey, chat, what's he listening to? Wrong answers only. And it's Carrington Valentine out there in a sleeveless shirt in the rain, got a band around the knees, kind of stretching, strengthening those quads, those knees, the ligaments, all that good stuff. Out there getting ready for the game. Obviously, Carrington's probably going to be on the field quite a bit today. He and Eric Stokes. I want to hear in the chat. I want to ask you guys a question. Who would you rather play the majority of the snaps at that corner on the outside opposite of Keyshawn? I think we all would agree Keyshawn is probably going to play on the boundary. Ooh, this is where it gets interesting. Hold on a minute. With Jair out, right? If you're going to play Keyshawn on the outside, that means Javon Buller's got to play the slot. I say got to, but they may have something else in store. Do we see Katano Ladapo today, gang? Do we see Javon Bullard play the slot, Keyshawn play the boundary, and then Katano Ladapo playing safety? What do you guys think about that? And my question was going to be, who would you rather see on the outside opposite? You know, typically it's opposite job, but today it'll probably be opposite Carrington if they slide Keyshawn out to the outside, then it'd be opposite of Key, if that makes sense. So let me know what you guys think in the chat. What do you think that nickel defense is going to look like? And don't get me wrong, the Lions run, they're very 12 heavy, right? Which means we're going to be in our base defense quite a bit. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll try to keep an eye on the chat here. But I agree, Prince. We will miss Jair today. There's no two ways about that. He's our best corner. No one is definitely saying that he's not. But as far as the matchup with St. Brown in the slot, I just don't know if it's truly that simple. Let's see what everybody says in the chat here. Everybody's saying Valentine. Obviously, Valentine is going to play. I guess that was probably the way I was trying to ask is, would you rather have Carrington Valentine or Eric Stokes out there today? It's probably going to be both of them, right? Let's see. Uzi says Valentine. Elijah says Carrington. Harry Cheese says, give me that Ola Home Depot. Yes, sir. This might be the day we see him. I mean, who is going to be that safety if Javon Bullard has to kick down in the slot in our nickel defense? Who's going to be the safety that plays opposite of Xavier McKinney? That's the question. Is it I keep want to say Oladipo now. Is it Oladapo? I don't know, man. Let's see here. Brandon in the chat says, if the rain and Love's injury means he can't play from under center, they can't win from shotgun only. Or can they win from shotgun only? Man, that is a really good question, Brandon. You got to be under center today, man. You've got to. It's not that Josh Jacobs can't run out of the gun. We seen it last week, right? We seen it last week with that cutback as we we broke it down. It was probably, it is the play that ended up clinching the PTA offensive player of the game there with Josh Jacobs with that cutback, make the safety miss, drag the linebacker to where he's got his legs straight up in the sky, laying flat on his back. That was out of gun set, right? If I remember correctly, at least pistol. I think it was gun with a sidecar. I could be wrong. But yeah, if he can't go under center, man, that's a little worry. Now, it sounds like, and based off of the practice footage, it sounds like Jordan Love isn't that bad off, So I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on that. Jarrell Lee with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. Says Ja out is fine. Evan Williams out. No, go Pack, go. I'm with you, Jarrell. That's the one that worries me. I think we would be okay without Jair. It's Evan Williams being able to play in that box, because when you're running those fire zone blitzes, you want him buzzing the box or obviously playing post. That's tough. It really is. So I'm kind of hoping they keep McKinney at post safety for the most part today. Now, they're going to be disguising. Don't get me wrong. They're going to be mugging the A-gap. They may bring McKinney up because he's shown both the awareness and the quickness, the physical ability to be able to get down the seam to cover the post after he mugs the C-gap, that type of thing. But when it comes to who's going to play that kind of underneath zone, I think I would rather Javon Bullard play underneath, play spur, play rotation, as opposed to him playing post, because he's just I don't want to pile on him, but he's just not been that good in coverage this year. He hasn't. And when you buzz him into the box, when you rotate him into the box, his strength is the run defense. So you get that extra guy in there that's quick, that can help you in the passing game, but can also stop the run, because that seems to be his strength for sure. Drell, thank you for the super chat, pal. We appreciate you, man. Let's see here. Nova says Evan Williams was the glue back there, and we fell apart without him last week. Nova, it was all over the tape, man. Got to completely agree with you, man. I totally agree with that. House of Red Wine. I want to see Oladapo at strong safety. Let him help in run support. Put him in the box. Javon at the slots position. Keyshawn on the outside, opposite of Carrington and or Eric Stokes. That might be the play here. And this is, look, I don't want to speak for everyone. I was way more excited about Javon Bullard than Evan Williams. And Evan Williams got his shot when the lights came on, and he popped, right? It's like, okay, it is clear to everyone, at least at this point, Evan Williams is a far better safety than Javon Bullard. Both of them being rookies, there's going to be plenty of time to change that, fix that, right? But maybe Oladapo is the same way, right? Maybe he gets on the field and we go, holy cow, he's just as good as Evan. It could be the case. Who knows? But, I think this might be the day we finally see Oladapo, though. Coach Lynn in the chat. Good to see you, Coach. He says, Nixon in the slot, Bullard back, Valentine on the perimeter. So Valentine and Stokes on the perimeter, Nixon in the slot, Bullard playing safety, so you don't have to go to your third safety. That could be the case, too. So Coach Lynn is leaning towards pulling corners off the bench and keep Bullard at safety, as opposed to putting Bullard in the slot and bringing Oladapo in at safety. So there you go. Ron Sample. Now, Valentine and Stokes outside. All right, so he's saying that. 2-0 for this. I want Bullard in the slot. He's been playing well there. In run defense, yeah, definitely. Like I said, I worry a little bit in coverage. Although I got to agree with you with the sentiment. If this is what you mean, 2-0 for this, he's better at playing coverage in the slot than he is at safety. I completely agree. Because there's been multiple times where we'll fire like a fire zone blitz. Last week, you've seen, I think it was, what was his name? Brian Thomas, is that his name? The rookie wide receiver for the Jaguars. You had Javon Bullard playing up top, ball snap. I think they fired a blitz, so it ends up being kind of one-on-one, Bullard versus the rookie receiver. Outside jab step, inside, absolutely cooked Bullard. So it does feel like Bullard plays better underneath in coverage for sure. Let's see. Elijah in the chat says Valentine, Stokes on the boundary, Nixon at the slot, McHimmie, I love it, and Bullard at safety. All right. Rel in the chat says, what's Kamal Haddon's snap history at cornerback? Not a whole lot. If I remember correctly, he was drafted by the Chiefs, cut earlier this year. Packers picked him up on the practice squad, and he has gotten little to no snaps. I don't have that information in front of me right now, but I think so. Reef says, whatever, try it all. It matters, but how do we know? Test them. That's a good point, man. The only way to find out is to test them. Prince in the chat. This makes the third out of 9 games Oladapo will be active, second for Haddon. So there's a good comparison if that's what you were looking for there, Rel. Obviously, Oladapo's seen a lot more time on the field than our boy Haddon, with him just kind of coming on the practice squad and obviously sitting there and all that good stuff. So let's see what else we got in here. All right, so we're all caught up on the Packers news as it currently sits. So what I wanted to do, actually, let's finish up in the chat here real quick. I'm going to rapid fire here. Harry Cheese, need the O-line and running backs to play big today. Yes, sir. Got to get the running game going early. No two ways about that. Jake G126, Stokes need to earn his money today. Yes. He's a first-round pick, right? Like today, if you're not going to put it together now, when are you going to put it together? Wouldn't you just love to see Stokes come out here and get 2 interceptions or just something crazy today? That'd be awesome. Cheesehead Murph, Bullard stays at safety, Haddon on the outside with Valentine and Nixon in the slot. Ooh, that's interesting. So Murph saying just keep Stokes on the sideline. We don't need it, right? Dane says run from the pistol. I think he might have been talking about that run, or is he just saying run from the pistol? Pistol's a fun set, man. 5-6 years ago, I wasn't a big fan of pistol. That's when it was running really heavy across the league in college football, and it's still heavy, don't get me wrong. But when it was explained to me of the versatility of being able to run outside stretch in both directions as opposed to a sidecar right, sidecar left, you're kind of limited. And the defenses know when you're sidecar right, I guarantee you they know if you're sidecar right, it's a zone left run or it's a designed left run. It can be gap two. It's a designed left run probably 80 to 85% of the time. But there are occasions you run a misdirection. You got a guard pulling in the opposite. But yeah, when you run out of pistol though, and you got that running back directly behind the quarterback, they've got to respect and honor both outside stretch plays. And that really opens up the entire playbook. And you can get really, really creative for sure. Nick McSwain in the chat, feeling another edge strip sack today. Man, did you guys see his tweet? That was a lot of fun. He's heard the noise. It's obvious. Everybody on the face of the earth is talking about the Lions are going to beat the Packers, right? And he posted, I can't put the tweet up. We'll probably get hit with a copyright. But if you guys go check Edgerrin Cooper's tweet, I think it's on my page. He tweeted a video of Muhammad Ali. And I want to say it was Foreman, maybe George Foreman he was referring to. But he's basically talking about being, trying to think of the right way to put it, being an underdog, essentially. And it was very quick, very brief. Muhammad Ali Muhammad Ali the greatest, obviously. You could tell the message that Edgerrin Cooper was sending was like, hey, look, this ain't the first time somebody been an underdog. Let's come out swinging, right? He's quickly becoming one of my favorite Packers, Edgerrin Cooper. Harry Cheese says, we have to remember Love has never dealt with a groin injury. That poopy sucks. Doesn't mean it was devastating, but was enough pain to make him unable to play. I have never had a groin injury, thank God. Tim talked about having one. I know other people who's played sports. I was very, very fortunate. I never dealt with one. They say it is extremely painful, especially like Mark Tauscher talked about, tearing it off the bone. Reef, let's stop the run, get in Goff's face, and control the time of possession. Yeah, and protect that football, man. That's the main thing. Listen, we swap at the football, right? Jeff Hafley has these guys punching and pulling and tugging at that ball. Obviously, we're taking the ball away in the air too. But the Lions are no slouch either. The Lions are the second best team in the league is the way I see right now. I still got to put the champs up there, the Chiefs at number 1. I think the Lions are number 2. That's just me personally. Yeah, they're going to be swapping at the ball too. We got to protect the football. Got to. Daryl in the chat, Packers won't take it easy on the Lions offense. They're going to have to work for it. Amen. Amen to that. Nick McSwain, think Bullard will be better this game. He didn't take any snaps in the position he had to fill in last week versus the Jags. All right. Let's see what else we got in here real quick, and then we'll go to a couple other things I wanted to hit on as we're roughly, little less than an hour from kickoff now as everything's getting geared up over there at Lambeau Field. Let's see here. Daryl in the chat, I like how the Packers have been consistent, whether it's on offense or defense. They get a lot of game changers on the Packers team. Goody's crushed this draft class, man. There's no two ways about that. And I know some people are getting really, really impatient. with Jordan Morgan and how can he not beat Sean Ryan out and all this and that. Guys, the reality, though, it's not – he's played left tackle his entire life, right? He being Jordan Morgan. And then you're asking him to kick over to right guard. There's going to be a bit of a curve there. Obviously, it's going to take some time to get used to that. So I think you've got a little bit of that coming into play as well. So, again, just wanted to point out the Lions have not played an outdoor game all year long. This is one of only 3 of their outdoor games this year. So let's do this. Let's look at a week 9 kind of what's going on around the league. And I've got some scores I want to update you guys and gals on, give you an idea of who's winning, who's losing. But obviously, Thursday night, the Jets get a win there against the Texans at home. You've got the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills today at 1 o'clock. These are the 1 o'clock games, 1 o'clock Eastern, of course. LA Chargers at the Cleveland Browns. You've got the Denver Broncos at the Baltimore Ravens. You got the Saints at the Panthers. You got the Patriots at the Titans. You got the Raiders at the Bengals, the Commanders at the Giants, and then the Cowboys at the Falcons. And then, of course, the 4 o'clock window, you've got the Jaguars at the Eagles, the Bears at the Cardinals, the LA Rams at 4:25 Eastern time, 3:25 Lambeau time, the LA Rams at Seattle, and then you got Detroit at Green Bay, obviously, in that game of the week. Tonight, we get the kick back, hopefully, after the Packers celebrate a dub. As soon as the postgame show is over, you'll be able to just flick the channel right over and watch the Indianapolis Colts face off against the Minnesota Vikings for Sunday Night Football. And then tomorrow we get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Kansas City Chiefs. So I want to point this out because if you look at this middle column, and shout out to Nerding on NFL, they get the best graphic every single week. This is how the standings look in the AFC East. It's the Buffalo Bills in first. The AFC North is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The AFC South is the Houston Texans. The AFC West is the Kansas City Chiefs. NFC East, the Washington Commanders. The NFC North, obviously, the Detroit Lions. NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons. And then the NFC West, you've got the Arizona Cardinals at 4-4, and they've actually got the San Francisco 49ers at 4-4 in second, and the Seahawks with the same record at 4-4 in third place. So when you kind of look at the playoff picture, and that's the whole reason we wanted to kind of dive into this with some of these early games, this is how the playoff picture currently sits, okay? I think we've got everything on screen. Yeah, we got it on screen. So in the AFC, the number 1 seed is the Kansas City Chiefs. The 2 seed is the Texans. The 3 seed is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The 4 seed is the Buffalo Bills. The 5 seed is the Denver Broncos. The 6 seed is the Baltimore Ravens. The 7 seed is the LA Chargers, okay? When we move over to the NFC, the Detroit Lions are the number 1 seed sitting there at 6-1. Number 2 is the Washington Commanders at 6-2. By the way, the Packers record is 6-2 as well, so kind of cool, right, that we're right on their heels for the number 2 seed. Obviously, you can't get it unless you win your division. So best case scenario, the Packers are going to end up being the 5 seed with that record. Listen, you just got to get in the playoffs, period. You win today, you are really in the hunt for the North, man. You're kind of in the driver's seat, to be honest with you. So number 3 seed, the Atlanta Falcons. 4 seed, the Arizona Cardinals. 5 seed, the Packers. 6 seed is the Minnesota Vikings. And then the 7th seed is the Philadelphia Eagles. And the reason I want to point that out is because we got some games going on around the league right now. And let's switch gears and hop over there and see exactly how those games are going. And we'll keep this up so I can drop it down and we can kind of stay. Actually, we'll drop it down and go back to it just to kind of see, all right, what games have implications for the Packers. You know, we're pulling for the Cowboys here. I know that makes you want to throw up in your mouth a little bit. But if the Cowboys can beat the Falcons, I think that's going to help us long term. What you want is every NFC team to have the worst possible record, right? With the Cowboys being 3-4, the Falcons being 5-3, you're hoping the Cowboys pull that one off. The Falcons are currently leading 27-13 there, and it looks like it's in the fourth quarter, 7:52 left. Dolphins and the Bills. The Bills are beating the Dolphins 27-20 with 6 minutes to play. You've got the Bengals just absolutely boat racing the Raiders 31-17 with 10 minutes left in that game. You've got the LA Chargers beating the brakes off of the Cleveland Browns 20-3 with 10 minutes left in that game. You've got the New England Patriots and the Tennessee Titans. Boy, that is the toilet bowl of the year right there. They're tied at 10-10 with 4 minutes to go. Probably one of the better games of the day, to be honest with you. You've got the Commanders beating the Giants 27-16 with what appears to be about 3 minutes left in that ball game. And then the Saints and the Panthers. The Saints are currently beating the Panthers 22-17. No real there for us. And then the final game there is the Ravens are absolutely boat racing the Denver Broncos 41-10 with 7 minutes to play. So when we look at some of these teams that's got a close to 6-2 record, the Commanders, they're winning their game. Unfortunately, obviously, they're leading their division. You'd like to see the Giants pull that off just to kind of knock another NFC team down. Not happening currently. And then, of course, kind of want the Cowboys to come back and win this game. They got 7 minutes left. I'm trying to see here on the Command Center TVs. Okay, what happened to Dak? Why is Dak not in the game? Does anybody know that? I'm going to go to the chat. I'm going to lean on y'all in the chat. Where is Dak at? Nick McSwain just seen it too. Dak hurt? Dak has a hammy injury, 2-0 for this says. All right. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So probably not going to see a comeback there, but you never know, man. You never know. So, again, just wanted to take you around the league, give you an update on all of that. Hopefully that makes sense. Well, we're seeing hamstring. We're seeing hand. We're seeing hammy. Holmes just says because Dak sucks. You know what, Holmes, since you said it, I'm going to have to give you one of these real quick. We haven't used it in a while. We're going to break it out, though. Where's it at? I know you're in here somewhere.
Yeah, here we go.
Got to hit him with one of those, all right? Dak's really struggled this year, though, if I remember correctly. I haven't looked at the stats specifically around Dak. Last year, statistically, he might have been the best quarterback in the league. I hate to say it, but with the Cowboys sitting at 3-4, man, they are liable to make a coaching change at the end of this year. I don't know how you guys feel. I'm a big Coach Mike fan, personally. I like Mike McCarthy. I root for the guy when he's not playing the Packers. That's just me. Yeah, he's probably about to get ran out of town, no doubt. Chris in the chat, I'm pumped up for this Smash Mouth rain game. Go Pack, go. Same, buddy, same. It is just a blast watching the rain game. I love low-scoring games. I'm that boring fan. I love defensive games. Love the running game, all that. So, yeah, I'm with you on that for sure, man. So, again, as we look through there, nothing really going our way as far as the NFC teams. Just a couple of them we'd like to take the L today. Obviously not happening. No big deal there. But when we look into the 4 o'clock window, right, and I guess we could go back to our other screen grab there. Let's see what other games we want to kind of keep an eye on as we get into the 4 o'clock window here this afternoon. You've got the Jaguars at the Eagles, right? And again, the Eagles, I'm trying to think of what their record is. They are 5-2. So, yeah, that's you want the Eagles to take the L there for sure. So we're Jaguars fans in that game. You got the Bears and the Cardinals. This might get a little bit chippy here. Cardinals are 4-4, right? And the Bears, I'm trying to think of what their record is. Let me go to ESPN real quick. The Bears are currently 4-3. So, yeah, we're pulling for the Cardinals in that, obviously, right? Hopefully the Cardinals can pull out that dub against the Chicago Bears. They're going to be kicking off right before we do. So that'll be coming up here in about 20 minutes, something to watch as we get ready for the Packers kickoff. And then, of course, the Vikings. Obviously, you want the Colts to beat the Vikings. That Monday night game is going to be interesting between the Buccaneers and the Chiefs. The Buccaneers are sitting at 4-4. The Chiefs are undefeated. Look, I don't want to see the Chiefs win another Super Bowl. I want them to get beat every chance they get. But at the same time, with where the Buccaneers currently sit in this playoff hunt here, you've got the Falcons at 5-3 leading that. It almost, you get to a point in the season where you're like, okay, each division winner, you want them to just go ahead and continue to win and beat the other people down. If indeed it's looking like the Packers may have to slide in through the wild card, opportunity there. If that's the case, probably pulling for the Chiefs there against the Bucs, right, gang? That's one of those two you crack open a daddy soda and just not even care what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoever wins, wins. If the Chiefs win, good. That means the Buccaneers have got one more loss under their belt, and that may help the Packers in the wild card hunt, right? If the Buccaneers win, it's like, good. Those Chiefs need to be brought back down to earth, right? So Chiefs fans are just absolutely spoiled, man. No doubt about it. Clint in the chat says CeeDee Lamb is hurt. Wow. So, man, they are that's very interesting. They're starting to get banged up. I'm wondering too, like once you get to the point where, all right, man, there's no chance of us making the playoffs, and they're not quite there yet. We're getting closer, they being the Cowboys. But once you get to that point, it's almost, I bet players do start kind of checking out. Like, yeah, man, my calf's been bothering me a little bit, right? No reason to go out there and risk it for a season that's done. Donovan Schilling says McCarthy going to the Jets this offseason, exclamation. But could you guys imagine that? I was told that Aaron Rodgers hates Mike McCarthy, right? Had to get a drink on that, sorry. Now, they don't say that. Neither of them have anything bad to say about the other person, but all the talking heads seem to understand people's personal friendships more than the people that are actually involved. That always cracks me up. I'm thinking that what will probably happen there, and I could be wrong. I'm wondering if McCarthy gets fired in Dallas, does Jerry Jones go after Bill Belichick? Think about that, right? I know this is a Packers podcast, but these are the things that are going to shape the offseason, obviously. So, be interesting to see who gets that job, man. Whoever gets it, good luck, because man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough living up to those standards out there. Let's see, Mr. JJ came in a little late here. Who are the inactives for the Packers? We already covered it, but essentially the most important ones are Jair Alexander's inactive, Evan Williams is inactive, and Josh Myers is inactive. Jordan Love is playing today, though. So there you go with that. 2-0 for this. Hey, I hear you, bub. 2-0 for this says Jerry Jones and Bill Belichick will be awful. God, could you imagine the ego? Belichick's over flashing 6 rings. I'm always siding with Belichick. That dude's forgot more about football than Jerry will ever know. And you guys know I'm always talking about appreciating Jerry Jones's passion for the game and how he could be doing anything else in the world. And he chooses to run maybe run it into the ground, but he's choosing to run an NFL team, right? But I'm with you, 2-0 for this. That'd be an interesting dynamic. If McCarthy does get fired and Jerry Jones doesn't hire Bill Belichick, who would it be then? Who do you think it would actually be? That's the question. Very, very interesting. And again, we'll have plenty of time to talk about that in the offseason, obviously, as the Black Monday and all that hits with everybody getting fired. So Nick McSwain, Ja, Williams, Myers, Heath inactive. That's right. Chris N is Josh Jacobs and Jair. Josh Jacobs is active. Jair is not. Okay. Yeah, J. Cole. That would be another Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones situation. I doubt it. Yeah, it's a good point, man. Very good point. Let's see here. Holmes says, if you were at the stadium, offer a Lions fan a brat. They are struggling in the elements. Laughing emoji. I love it. Tim, obviously, down there, man, they've been doing just fine. They've been out there since the butt crack of dawn, getting everything fired up down there. 2-0 for this says Saleh. Saleh to the Cowboys. Is that what you're talking about? That's interesting. I don't know if he'll get another head coaching job that quick. I could be wrong. I think he's going to be – everybody's going to be banging on his door for a defensive coordinator spot. There's no two ways about that. And here's the thing, like, if the Packers defense continues to improve, and listen, they haven't been like great. They've been really good at taking the ball away, obviously. He's been really good at generating pressure, although most people disagree with that, which blows my mind. He's done really good adapting from the college game back into the pro game, being out of it for a few years. But if Hafley gets a head coaching job somewhere, I want the Packers to waste no time and throw the freaking book at Robert Saleh, even if that means demoting Rich Bisaccia from assistant head coach, right? Because again, there may be some teams. I take that back. Any team that would offer Robert Saleh the defensive coordinator spot, they're going to offer him the assistant head coaching job, right? And he may get some head coaching offers. I just don't see it because his head coach record is horrible. His record as a defensive coordinator and the defenses he's put together, damn near pristine, right? So, I don't think Robert Saleh would be their top pick. I could be wrong there, though. So, let's see here. What else we got in the chat as we get closer to kickoff? We're now at 2:45 Central, 3:45 Eastern. So we're roughly a little over 30 minutes away from kickoff, something like that. So let's see. Look at this. Well, I can't put that on the screen because of the name, but he says the Lions will wreck you bums. You're probably right. CTI. I'll call you CTI. It is a kind of a funny name, but anyway, you're probably right. But if you're wrong, oh boy, good luck enjoying that game today. That's all I got to say. So let's see here. What else we got in the chat? You have to trash. Yeah, there you go. 2-0 for this. Imagine living in a world that you have to trash talk about another team winning. There you go. Ron Sample, hit that like, Camel, before you sneak out of here, man. Hit that like button for us. We appreciate it. Daryl in the chat, it's fun listening to you talk on live chat with that accent. LOL, man, it's bad. I know, dude. I can't listen. It is what it is. I've had people reach out to. This is what's hilarious. I've had people reach out and like, hey man, I got a guy who coaches people on podcasts, and they can help you with your pronunciation. Get the hell away from me, dude. I'm a redneck from Kentucky. I ain't changing who I am. It is what it is. We're just gonna get on here and talk ball. That's what we do. But I'm glad you think it's fun. I think you probably meant funny, but appreciate you. But Clint in the chat, I don't think Hafley will go anywhere for a couple of years. That's just my opinion. I hope you're right, Clint. And if I had to put money on it, I would probably side with you. I don't know if a team will just go, that's our next head coach. And I think the more you look around the league, man, it seems like there's a lot more success with offensive coaches being a head coach than defense. That doesn't mean defensive coaches can't be good. And most of the defensive coaches that are good as head coaches, they've had a lot of experience, like Belichick has coached every facet of the game. When people come at me with that argument that, well, Belichick's a defensive coach, buddy, you can turn on NFL films and see him game planning with Brady that week, putting an offensive game plan together. It's not the case at all, right? But most defensive coaches do struggle. But I'll tell you this, Mike McDonald, that came from Baltimore, he's now the head coach in Seattle. Isn't he doing really, really well this year? Let me take a look here. Maybe he isn't. Oh, no, that's right. They are what place are they in currently? They're not in the playoffs currently, are they? So they get the 16th overall pick in the draft order right now. So they are having a down year. So that is kind of proven. I was thinking that might be one that proves me wrong because I think he's a pretty good coach. But, so Seattle, well, they're tied for third. They're at 500 right now, right? I just like offensive-minded head coaches, man. That's just me. Like, when you go across the league, Buffalo's 6-2. Obviously, they've got a defensive coach there, and his name is escaping me now. I probably shouldn't even try to do this because I don't know all the head coaches by name. God, what's his name? Sean something, right? Anyway, defensive coach in Buffalo. Pittsburgh, defensive/special teams coach, a little more well-rounded in Mike Tomlin over the years. Houston, defensive coach. Hold up a second. Look at this trend here. Kansas City, offensive coach with Andy Reid. He was a tight ends coach in Green Bay before he took over as offensive coach. Washington, defensive coach, right? Look at this. Is the tide turning on defensive coaches being dominant in the NFL? Because Washington got Dallas's defensive coordinator last year, right? So there you go with that. Detroit, Dan Campbell. Many people see him as a defensive coach, but he played tight end in the league, and obviously was a tight ends coach, so he's offensive. Atlanta Falcons, I'm trying to think who their coach is now. That's evading me. Sean McDermott was Buffalo. Thank you for calling that out. Appreciate you. Let's see. If somebody could tell me, remind me again who Atlanta Falcons coach is. Why can I not think of that? Somebody look that up for me. Google that for me, Jamie, if you don't care. T. Rattler in the chat says, love it when you fly solo. Doing a great job, Clayton. Got me very amped up for this game. Appreciate it. Man, I hate going solo, but I appreciate you saying it. I really do. There you go. Tad in the chat, Tad Samato says Raheem Morris. So that's another defensive coach, right? Yeah. Holy cow, check that out. And then with the Arizona Cardinals, that is Rich Gannon. Not Rich. What's his name? It's Gannon, right? In Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals, guys, look up their head coach. Remind me who that is. I think he was a defensive coach too, if I remember correctly. So you've got 1, 2, 3, right? 4, 5 of the division leading teams are coached by defensive-minded head coaches. That's really, really interesting. Really interesting. So, like I said, the tide might be changing there for sure. Let's see. Robert Schultz says, Green Bay Packers are a great team, but you cheeseheads are delusional if you think you can beat the Lions today. Somebody screenshot that for me, okay? You're right, Robert. No one expects. So here, let me help you out. I'll pile on here a little bit. Look at this. Check that out. Nobody expects the Green Bay Packers to have a shot in this game. Right? So, Robert, do me a favor, bub. If the Packers do somehow, some way pull off this miracle, be man enough to swing back through the post-game show immediately following the game. We'd love to see you. All right. So, Brambo says John Gannon is – and now I'm trying to think. I think he was he an offensive coach or a defensive coach? It doesn't really matter. But you guys get the point. It seems like there's more defensive coaches having success as head coaches than I thought. So, once again, as you'll find the more you listen to this show, I'm wrong about a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Donovan Schilling, hit that like, Robert. Don't forget to hit that like, Bubba. All right, let's see. Respect Oranges. You got it, buddy. Any given Sunday, right? Any given Sunday. Let's see, 2-0 for this. The best coach the Raiders have had in years is a special teams coach in Bisaccia. Good point. Good point. Now, remember, they ended up hiring over Bisaccia. They hired Antonio Pierce, obviously former linebacker for the New York Giants back in the day. He is struggling, right? So there's a defensive coach struggling. I'd like to see how many coaches in the league, and I try to do this in every offseason with the new hires, go, okay, how many of the 32 teams have a coach that's offensive minded or defensive minded, or maybe, balanced, that type of thing. So, yeah, I'm with you, Clint. Clint says, I love being the underdog. Amen, buddy. Amen right there. All righty. Let's see here. What else we got before we get ready to wrap this up? I'm going to hit refresh real quick and see if any other news has dropped. Sometimes we get some shots down on the field. I just want to see some of that. You know what I'll do? Hopefully nothing inappropriate pops up. I apologize if it does. I've got this list pretty well cleaned up with just people that I like to follow for Packers news. Zach Cruz will be the first career start for Packers first-round pick Jordan Morgan. Based on how they are lined up at the moment for warmups, Bill Huber tweeted out, it will be Walker at left tackle, Morgan at left guard, Jenkins at center, Sean Ryan at right guard, and Tom at right tackle. So we are going Jordan Morgan at left guard. I like it. Tim was talking about this, right? Like Jordan Morgan playing left tackle his entire career, you're trying to force him in that right guard spot. Putting him on the left side, he might be more comfortable at left guard, right, as opposed to right guard because he was a left tackle for so long. Very interesting. Paul Brettel tweeted out. He's zoom this in to help you out a little bit. And make sure you give all these guys a follow on X, guy. I'm telling you, this is where I get all my Packers news. We got some of the best in the business covering it. Let's see. Paul Brettel had tweeted out, no surprise, but Elton Jenkins taking the center snaps in warmups. Morgan is at left guard and Ryan at right guard. All right, so we got that. Let's see. As expected, Elton Jenkins, the starting center. This is from Matt Schneidman in warmups with no Josh Myers. Rookie first round of Jordan Morgan. So that is all the way across the board. Everybody reporting the same thing. Jordan Morgan will play left guard, it seems. Here's the shot we wanted to show you. So Jacob Morley tweeted out, says, Green Bay is 2 words. Amon-Ra St. Brown with the sweatshirt that says Green Bay sucks. And, of course, the knucklehead, he didn't put a space in between the green and the bay. So, God love you. You like to talk that trash, bub. You need to learn how the English language. If I'm telling you, you got something wrong there, there's something really, really wrong. All right. Let's see anything else. Just want to make sure we're not missing anything else as far as Packers news coming down the wire. Everybody just reporting that with left guard. Here we got the captain's name for today. So Green Bay's captains today are wide receiver Bo Melton, defensive lineman Rashawn Gary, and running back Josh Jacobs. I like it. Gary, boy, he has amped up the pressures big time. Last 2 weeks of the season, they've just exploded. Really excited for when he does get his sacks and they do hit because, man, that dude just does everything right, in my opinion. He's done a lot of stuff unselfish this year too with some of the ET stunts, and you'll see him like when they line him up over to the left sometimes from the offense's perspective, they'll run an ET where he's going to go across the face of the tackle and the guard, and he goes across the face of the tackle and the guard, engages, kind of starts to occupy the center, and he's protecting that mid-rush lane in case the quarterback scrambles. And what that's doing is freeing things up underneath, whether you let that tackle work the outside shoulder of the guard and you kind of run those bodies together to get pressure, or you'll work that and you actually have Edgerrin Cooper fire with that fire zone blitz from the A gap and work in, and that's how Edge is hitting home too. So Gary's done a lot of stuff like that as well. You guys know, if you watch this show, you know how I feel about Gary. When you turn on the tape, I just don't see Gary getting stood up. I don't. It's specific assignments. Listen, he's not having the success he's had in the past. Don't get me wrong. He's not having a great year. But when you look at his specific assignments, when he's rushing the quarterback, man, there's many plays where it's not, he's just pinning his ears back and going. You could tell they have got it designed to protect this lane, this lane, this lane, and this lane. And you typically got 2 to 3 that are actually trying to press the quarterback while the others are protecting the scramble lanes. So that's I'd be really excited to see him get ready to turn it loose today as well. Let's see here. Chris N says, I've never met a fan base with less class than a Lions fans. Obnoxious. Where were you the last 40 years? You know what's crazy, Chris, is 2 years ago, I was the guy going, man, I've never had a bad Lions fan experience. Like they're all cool. They're kind of humble. It's like, man, you kind of feel bad for them. But once they started winning, I have heard nothing but bad things. Like Tim was talking about last year, this very game here, Lambeau last year against the Lions, them being rude with women in the stands and stuff. And just like, it's like, wow, you learn a lot about people when they get a little bit of success, right? And, don't count your chickens before they hatch. That success might be gone sooner than you think, especially when you out there sowing that bad seed, no doubt. What else we got in here? Yeah. Oh, this is hilarious. I grew up listening to Eminem. He burst on the scene right as I was graduating high school. So I seen him rise to, being a famous rapper and one of the best, maybe aside from Tupac, the best lyricist, in the history of the rap game. You hear my accent, you crack up at that, right? I was that dude that had the Waylon Jennings next to the Tupac, next to the Kenny Chesney and the CD changer. That was just me. I just, I listen to anything. But 2-0 for this says, it's like Eminem only showing up for the Lions when they started winning. I didn't even know Eminem was a Detroit Lions fan until like 3 years ago. And I followed Eminem his whole career, right? And all of a sudden they start winning. He's Eminem doing broadcasts, Eminem in the box. It's like, whoa. What the hell just happened here? So it's funny how that works, right? All right, let's see. Let's finish up in the chat here. Bradley in the chat says, Vikings fan, but I respect Green Bay. Appreciate it, Bradley. Appreciate you swinging through, man. Thank you for the kind words. Donovan Schilling, you've never met Georgia Bulldogs fans then. I've met Georgia Bulldogs fans. Talking about entitled, especially here recently. They didn't have that energy 10 years ago, man. I promise you that. Bama fans did. Now Bama fans are kind of looking over their shoulder like, crap, this sucks, right? Let's see here. What else we got here? Anything else we need to hit on? Let's see. Holmes, Heat Goff up today. He will struggle, in my opinion. Yeah, you got to stop the run first and foremost. If Goff beats you, you want him to have to beat you deep, right? We know rain game like this could be a low-scoring game. I think if I remember correctly, over-under was set at like 49 and a half. Let's see if that changed. Let's see. Not 47 and a half. So it was 47 and a half all week long. So I don't know if I feel comfortable taking the under, though, man. These teams are so dynamic, But, yeah, I'm okay with heating Goff up. You want to make him try to beat you deep. And if he does it a time or two, then change the game plan up, right? But until they can prove that they can beat you deep, try to get some pressure on them, right? Heat up some of those fire zones for sure. All right, let's see here. Anything else? I think we're good. I think we got everything pretty well covered. We're cracking the 3 p.m. Central Time here, so we're getting closer to kickoff. What I do typically is I'll break off 20, 30 minutes before the game starts. That way I can go ahead and run downstairs, grab something to drink, get ready to chart the game. We got the guys getting ready to come out of the tunnel here. This is a great shot. Let's see. Probably no sound on it. Let's see. Here we go. You hear that click clack? How about that view, ladies and gentlemen? The boys coming out of the tunnel. You see Ballantyne, you see Bo Melton. Everybody geared up, ready to go. Let's see if we can pick up on the rain. Oh, yeah, it's coming down pretty steady there. Oh, yeah. This is Lambeau Field weather right here, man. Absolutely awesome stuff. Randy Steen in Super Chat, thank you so much, buddy. He says, I think this makes Ja 50% games started in the last 36. Randy, is that true, man? God, if that is, man, that is bad. That is a bad return on investment. As much as people like to pile on Rashawn Gary, they don't pile on Kenny Clark at all. That always blows my mind. But anyway, like the pile on Rashawn Gary, think about that money spent with Jair. And, if that's true, golly, dude, only 50%? That's rough, man. It's rough. Sooner or later, you got to look up as a GM, and it's kind of like what I think it was at 2-0 for whoever it was earlier in the show was saying. Do you go out the trade deadline and get a corner? I don't think you do, but this offseason, you got to start looking at like, man, we need people to be available. Eric Stokes had that horrible injury, obviously last year or the year before, whenever it was, and there's not much you can do with that, but just these little getting banged up here and there and missing 50% of the games in the last 36 of, you would have been available. That's wild, man. Let's see here. Nodak Mike says it is true about Jair. He's missed 16 of the last 32 games. Wow, man. Yep. Ron Sample confirms too. Great pull there, Randy. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. So got to get it straightened out. Drew D, who's located in Green Bay as well, says, yeah, rain is pretty heavy there. So it's going to rain pretty much all game, last I heard. So there you go. Guys, we had a bunch of people in here. I'm sorry I was flying solo. I know it gets boring. Hopefully we kept things flowing enough that it was entertaining for y'all. Hopefully we bring you all the information you wanted going into kickoff. But we will be back immediately following the game for the PTA postgame show and bringing you all the news, the notes, the highlights, the analysis, all that good stuff. Tim may be able to join me if he gets home in time. I don't know. If I was him, go home, take a warm shower, drink a daddy soda or some warm tea, and make sure you don't get sick being out there in the rain. Emilio may be on here as well. But we'll be back for the postgame show. As Ben Holden says, this show sucks. This show does suck. It does. Let's see. Coach Lynn, go Pack, go. We got United Bates. Great show as always, Clay. Thank you, Bates. You are the man, dude. You supported us since day one. We appreciate you so much. Nick McSwain, this show sucks. The new people are going, what did he do wrong? Hang around. You'll understand. It's just this show does suck. It is what it is. All right. Daryl, I like the classic uniforms they're wearing. Pretty retro. Yes, sir. And I love that everybody changed the logo all week, too, like NFL Pro, all that good stuff, man. 2-0 for this says it's all rigged. All the giveaways we do is rigged. No giveaway tonight, but we will do a giveaway next week for sure. We got another autographed Romeo Dobbs card we'll give away next week as well. Holmes confirms this show does suck. So, all right, that's it, guys. Appreciate y'all. We will see you immediately following the game for the PTA postgame show. Everybody enjoy the game. If you're out watching the game, you guys know the drill. If you drink, don't drive, do the watermelon crawl. Get an Uber on the phone there. All right, everybody be careful. Enjoy the game. We'll see y'all tonight. Appreciate you.